So today's retrospective review, we are going to go back and look at the sci-fi masterpiece known as Looper. Let's get into it. So Looper, directed and written by Rian Johnson, a director who, let's just say, has been divisive lately. Probably maybe not right now, but back in the day, yeah, he was. And look, Rian Johnson has made some movies that I adore. We're talking Knives Out. Love the first Knives Out. Knives Out 2, absolutely love. And then there's this movie, Looper, which I think is his best movie. And he's also done a movie that I do not like in Star Wars The Last Jedi. Now, if you guys want to know my reasoning for that, I obviously have done one when I did all the Star Wars movies, so you can go check that out. Do it after this video. So you can go check that out. There's a whole thing about that. I don't blame Rian Johnson for it. I blame Lucasfilm as a whole for that, but that's a whole nother conversation. But we're here to talk about his best movie, in my opinion, Looper. Now, this movie, I adore this movie. I really, really enjoy this movie quite a lot. Look, I am a huge sci-fi person, so I love these type of movies, but this one isn't your traditional sci-fi movie. When people talk about sci-fi movies, most of them talk about space. You know, we're talking about Star Wars. We're talking about The Martian. We're talking about Interstellar. We're talking about those, A Space Odyssey. We're talking about those type of movies that deal with things in space. This one is down on Earth, but it involves time travel. Now, time travel, when you do it in movies and TV shows, can become a complete and utter mess. How many movies have we seen where time travel is in it and it doesn't work? I think there's only a handful, like Back to the Future, that have nailed the time travel aspect. Looper's one of those movies that absolutely nails that time aspect. And there's a reason to why that is because Rian Johnson sits there and actually takes care with the time travel stuff. He doesn't make it so that you think time travel works this way, and then he throws the twist and goes, time travel works this way instead. He sticks by the rules that he lays out, the law that he lays out with the time travel, and then goes with it and rolls with it and sticks to that. And that plays a huge part in the finale of this movie that wraps up this story perfectly. It is stunning, this movie. I just love this movie. And I don't think I'm the only one that loves this movie. I think there's a lot of you guys out there that enjoy Looper. It's just so good. It really is. So firstly, if you guys don't know about Looper, Looper is basically a person. There's a guy who sits there. Someone from the future will come back and he will shoot them and kill them. And then he'll collect the silver, go on. And these people are called loopers. And then when their person gets sent, they shoot them and it's them from the future. So when that happens, they get gold and it's called closing your loop. That's the whole main idea of this story, is these loopers who are killing people from the future because it's easier for them to get rid of the body because it doesn't exist. That person does, well, they do exist, but they don't exist in that form. So it's this cool idea that Rian Johnson has come up with having them come back from the future to be killed in the past and then buried or burned or whatever in the past. That way there's no traces left because, as they say in the movie, it's near impossible to find and bury a body in the future. It's like literally impossible because there's trackers and everything like that. So you can identify that, and it's a whole thing. But I don't want to, just in case someone, what rock are you living under if you haven't seen Looper yet? What rock are you living under? So I don't want to fully spoil the movie for you guys, but definitely watch this movie. I'm telling you that now. Go watch it and then come back here. So that's the whole idea. But then Rian Johnson throws in this twist about a rainmaker. And this is where we start to see the character of Joe when he interacts with himself from the future. This is where he starts to learn about the rainmaker. And this becomes the whole premise of the film. And what I love is the themes running through this film. And it's mainly centered around this rainmaker. And what makes this movie so brilliant with the whole ending and the way it wraps up is the title is called Looper. And the whole idea is this is a loop. What happens is a loop and it continues. And this is the reason. It's a loop of pain, suffering, loneliness. People that are willing to kill for, kill for their wife. A mother that's willing to die for their son. This son who's alone, who feels revenge, anger, goes out and does terrible stuff to fix what his pain is. So it's this endless cycle. And the ending is so brilliant and so great because there's only one option to end that cycle. But what I love is the build up to that. As you build up to this moment that is at the end, you following Joe on this journey where he has encountered his future self. So just imagine you encounter your future self. You're sitting there right in front of them. He's telling you about the life, about a woman that saves you in the future. Because Joe's a drug addict, and obviously in here they have the eye things, the eye drops that they do, and that's how they get high on that. So he's an addict, and this is where, played by Bruce, so obviously you got Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bruce Willis, so absolutely top tier right there. So you got them two next, they play the same character. One, Bruce Willis is from the future, Joseph Gordon-Levitt from the present. And imagine sitting there, and he's telling you that this person, when you're having withdrawals and everything, you're messed up, is there taking her time to save you. And then you're sitting there like, these people are hunting me because you're still standing here. Because if you don't close your loop, the organization comes after you. And we saw that in this absolute brutal, and I mean brutal, whole entire scene with Paul Dano's character, Seth. When his loop gets loose and they find out and they tell Joe, we'll take everything you have if you don't tell us where he is. So Joe gives him up. And as we're watching, Seth's person from the future starts to lose body bits. And it's disgusting. Because first it starts off with a writing, meet here in 15 minutes. Then he starts losing fingers. Then he loses his nose. And it's just this heartbreaking moment where you're watching this character who wants to survive at all costs start to lose limbs, feet, everything. And then when he gets to the door, bam, shot to the head. And we see Seth on the operating table, still alive, obviously sedated and everything like that, but losing limbs. So Ryan already puts in that anything that happens in the present timeline will affect what happens in the past. So you have the whole butterfly effect. You do something in this timeline, it's going to affect the future timeline as well. So he doesn't stray from that, which is what I like. And that's the whole point when you come to the final act where we actually have Joe there standing, looking at the Rainmaker as a child there, his mother, and then his future self standing there. And he's now going to make a decision. How do I stop this loop? How do I stop this from going on? And there's only one option that he does. And it's this emotional moment when he makes that decision of what he has to do. And he doesn't hesitate. He doesn't do anything. But it's because he's had that build up with the mother and the Rainmaker. By showcasing you when he's at the farm with them, he builds a bond with the kid especially. And he's there and the kid saves him from a particular moment that happens in there. So he's already building this relationship with this kid. He doesn't know who this is. He doesn't know if he's the Rainmaker or not, but he just thinks he is. And obviously we have the mother, Sarah, who is played by the great Emily Blunt. And she is superb in here. She is just absolutely fantastic. So we have her character who saves Joe. And she starts to build a relationship with Joe as well. So that when you do get to that moment where Joe must make that decision, the emotional weight is there. And you're not just feeling it on Joe's part, you're feeling it on Sarah's part. And then you're feeling it for the kid as well, because this kid liked Joe. He looked up to Joe. And, Joe could have killed him at any moment. Especially when we find out what this kid is capable of and why he is the Rainmaker. And I think Ryan did that really, really well, how he showcased how powerful this kid can be. But it's that line from Sarah to Joe that says, look, after the big explosion, which was absolutely fantastic, when you watch this guy, just blood start to come out there and there's big explosion. It's just perfect. Absolutely great. Ryan nailed that scene. But it's this line when Joe's there and he's like, this guy is the Rainmaker. Like, he could do really bad stuff. And she says, not if I raise him. If I have the chance to raise him, then he might not do these bad things. He could do good with the power he has. And that's when you get to that final moment when they're sitting there and Sarah's willing to put her life on the line, willing to die. And obviously Joe sees the options here where she gets shot. The kid then goes off, and this is where he becomes the Rainmaker because he's angry because the mother died in front of him. Then you have Bruce Willis, who is Joe from the future. He's willing to kill this Rainmaker so that he can be there with his wife, because there's a whole backstory to that we're going to get into. But then Joe must make the decision there. How do I stop this loop? And there's only one option. He has to kill himself right there. Because if he kills himself right there, his future self just disappears. Gone, because there is no future. He's dead. So he has to make the decision. It's just this beautiful moment, this beautiful circle that builds up and then comes to an end perfectly. But then you also have future Joe, who you really feel for. Like, this is what Ryan did so well. You feel for every single character. So when that moment happens, you're like, I'm gutted for him, I'm gutted for him, I'm gutted for her, I'm gutted for him. They all deserve to live happily. Like, you understand the motives of future Joe. Why is he doing this? Because he has this woman that saved him. And she died because of his mistakes that he made back when he was younger. She was the one that had to suffer the ultimate consequence in death. So he now has to go, because if the Rainmaker doesn't exist, therefore no one is getting sent back to close their loops, which then creates a peaceful environment for him to live in with his wife and live happily ever after. So that's what he's going. But on this journey, every time that the present Joe makes a new memory, his memory starts to fade of that. So he must look at his watch at all times to try and remember his wife. It's brilliant. It really is. Rian Johnson, just the writing of this film is incredible. It really is. The lore that he built, the world building that he created, it's just fantastic. And then you throw in the cinematography on top. Oh, talk about gorgeous. This is absolutely gorgeous, this movie. Just the colorization, the locations, the visuals, the cinematography. It is top notch. It really is. The performances are great. Bruce Willis is outstanding. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, man, the makeup artist on that, you need to be recognized for this, because, oh my word, the man doesn't even look like him. And what they did, I found out actually why he doesn't look like he does in real life, is because they molded both their faces. And in order to make them look more alike, so that when he gets older, he looks like Bruce Willis, they actually then added the lips and the nose to make it more realistic that he would turn into Bruce Willis. I think that's absolutely superb. But then you got like the Bruce Willis performance where he's going around and he's got to kill these kids because he has these 3 kids. He doesn't know who the Rainmaker is. And dude, when he kills the first one, just that impact that hits him, Bruce Willis's performance in that moment is absolutely world class. It's brilliant. It really is. So I absolutely loved his performance. The score is incredible. The score is just... it's like eating cake when you shouldn't be eating cake, but it's just damn good. That's what the score is like. It's brilliant. Deafening at the right time, because it enhances every single scene that you want. This movie is just a movie I love. It's so close to being in my top 10 best of all time. It's right there on the 11th spot. To me, this is like sci-fi masterpiece. Like, we're in that territory. It's just got everything you want in it. It really does, in a sci-fi movie. And, you know, this movie could easily get really messy with the whole time travel stuff. But Ryan doesn't do that. Ryan sticks to his guns. He follows through and he delivers. Emily Blunt's great. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's great. This cast is stacked. Abe is great as well as a character as well. You love that character and you understand where he's coming from. Obviously, we've got a character who's in here who's that kid that's kind of trying to make a name for himself, thinks he's a bit bigger, his ego's inflated out here. Really, he's like this. And then he's the funny moments. He's like the comedic relief when you need it. So that's okay. But man, I love Looper. I really do. So let me know what you guys think. I still think it holds up as one of the best sci-fi movies out there. I still think it holds up there. And we're going to get into another sci-fi movie next week that I absolutely love as well. So stay tuned for that. But let me know your thoughts on Looper. Do you guys feel the same? Or maybe you don't. Maybe you have a different opinion, which is okay. But let me know anyway, because I love to have a little discussion. Smash that like button, click subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe, and peace out.